What's up YouTube? My name is Chad. This is the Wisco Boater channel. I'm here at Hoses Unlimited. I'm here to pick up my steering hoses that they have made for me this morning. So here's the new hoses. These are beautiful German made Hansaflex, and I believe 3000 psi is what they're rated to. All right, so as mentioned, those are German made hoses from a company started in the 60s. I think it said 1969, called Hansaflex. They are an OEM hose manufacturer for companies like Kubota, Volvo. You know, large corporations use these hoses, so very good quality. They were a little bit more expensive than I initially thought, but that's okay. Not terribly expensive. These three hoses, so $100 a piece. They were $299.85 is what I paid. So $300 for 3 hoses. You can get hoses from a couple of online places that carry Hynotic branded hoses that run about $60 to $75. The fittings that Hynotic uses were different than the fittings that Chris Craft used to make these hoses. So I had to use something other than Hynotic in order to make my fittings work. So these hoses look awesome. They came out great, and I can't wait to get them installed this weekend. So leaving Milwaukee now, and I gotta head back home, get my stuff, and then heading up to the boat for the weekend. Back up on the boat, I've got my hydraulic hoses with me, and I'm gonna work on getting those installed today. It is Saturday, February 18th. It's my dad's birthday, so happy birthday, Dad. And I've got my dog Jersey with me. She's right there, relaxing up in the cockpit. But before I get to the hydraulic lines, I'm going to tidy up the wires. It's just a mess up in there. Let me show you. You probably saw this in the last video, but it's just a mess of wires up here. I've got these 3 wires here. Went to something at some point. They're not hooked up to anything now. They're not hooked up to anything down in the engine room. But I'm just going to coil those up and save them just in case I need something later. So I'm going to work on getting all this zip tied as best I can, and then we'll work on running the hydraulic lines from here up to the helm. Okay, so it doesn't really look all that much better, but I do have most of the wires harnessed up to kind of keep them a little bit more organized. So now I'm going to move on to the hoses. I've got 2 of them on the floor here, and the other one sitting right here. The first thing I need to do is put some Teflon tape on the NPT fittings. They didn't do this at the hose place, and I wasn't sure what type of thread sealer was needed here. If Teflon tape is compatible with hydraulic fluid. It is not, but all I'm doing here is sealing the threads, and then the compression fitting with the ferrule here is what will seal the fluid to the other side of this fitting. So I'm going to put Teflon tape on each one of these NPTs. Okay, we'll get some, I'll do the first one here. I'm sure that you've probably done, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've probably done NPT fittings before, but just in case, I might as well show the whole process here. Let me go on this way, it's a little bit easier. Stretch it out. So when you're doing NPT threads, you want to make sure not get any of the tape at the very top of the fitting. You don't want any of this tape to get into the line. Just go around 3 times, break it off. Okay, and we don't have anything at the top here. And then start screwing our fitting on, and tight. And then we'll use a couple of big wrenches here. Tighten it the rest of the way. Okay. Okay, that is nice and tight. So this side's ready to go on the boat. But I'm gonna turn around and do the other side as well. So same thing. So I'll do all 6 of these, and then we'll get these fished through the wiring up there. And you may recall from the last video that this fitting came out of the helm, the pump up there. So I'm going to put some Teflon tape on these NPT threads, and we'll reinstall this one. Then I'll get the lines run through and get those hooked up. Okay, the hoses are done. Got all 6 fittings taped with Teflon tape. And as I said, either the threads in here do not get any sort of tape or sealant or anything. They're sealed by the compression of the ferrule. So, all right, see if we can get the first hose in through here. It actually needs to go. It's going to have to go behind this, but okay, that hang there, and I'll go on the other side, see if I can pull it through. I'm going to route this a little bit differently. What is that? Something was, I believe, grounding an anchor, the anchor winch, the windlass wiring. Not really sure what's up with that. I'm gonna try this again. All right, that was kind of strange. I'm gonna have to investigate that a little bit. But in the meantime, there's one connection. Okay, I'm going to show you the other side. Okay, so this one, I'll get right in front of the light here. It's routed up to the right side. Let's see here, I need to tighten down that side, tighten up that side. Right. Yeah, that line is fairly tight bend. Figure that out. Alright, they did make these a little longer than they were before. Alright, you can kind of see the routing there. It goes back down through, and then this will get pushed back in, something like that. Yeah, because those hoses will get mounted up against the wall. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, now I need to get the other two lines installed, and then we'll tighten up fittings. Okay, finally got all three of them installed. Still looks like a mess up in here. I'm gonna have to do something with this 12-volt outlet here. I don't think it works anyway, but that hose is gonna rub on that. I took the power leads off, and that's gonna rub on that, so that's gonna have to come out. And then where the hoses pass through, I'm gonna have to wrap something around the hoses there so they don't rub against the wood there. But everything's back in place, and tuck this wire up in here, just like that for future use, and it's back to looking like an absolute mess again. But everything's tight and installed as it should be. And go up top here. And you can see up in there, I've got everything connected, tightened, and the runs look pretty good. The thing I got to figure out is that noise that I heard earlier in the video was the windlass. So I'm not sure why I'm getting the windlass to operate by jiggling some wires and applying power somehow. But I've got the breaker turned off. The switch is now dead because this is an always on switch. This one, if it was on, it's lighted. So breaker's pulled. So I'll tackle that at some point. So for now, the hydraulic steering hose replacement project is complete. And the next step in part 3 of this video, when I get to it, will be bleeding the system. I'll have to add some hydraulic fluid and then use the Schrader valve with a bike pump or some sort of air pump to pressurize the system, bleed it. I have a whole set of instructions over here from Teleflex on how to bleed the hydraulic system. So that'll be next time. All right, so thanks for watching this episode of the Wisco Boater Channel. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Happy boating, everybody.